Hey, so today I'm going to be talking about the word permaculture. The formal definition that I came up with is the human-made creation of a self-sufficient ecosystem by way of using renewable resources to ensure survival of various species and also endangered ones. The etymology of the word, so it's made of two parts. The first part is perma, which means permanent, kind of obvious. The second part is culture, and it stands for culture, but in this case, culture is short for cultivation, and cultivation is the act of preparing land in order to grow crops on it. The origin of this word, so it was actually made up by two men in Australia, one named Bill Molson and the other named David Holmgren. I don't know if I'm saying those right. So the two worried that the way that people cultivated and grew food on land was too industrial and couldn't be used later on in life. It was too harmful, not good. So they sought for a better way to harvest the land without actually hurting the land itself. So they came up with permaculture. And Bill Molson, he wrote a book in 1988, and that started the ripple of the permaculture movement. And it's way bigger than he probably would have ever thought. But they both paved the pathway for permaculture to stand for permanent culture and not just permanent agriculture. So in order for an artificial ecosystem to be coined a permaculture, all life forms in it must rely on and support each other. They are created by replicating the organic flow of energy that is found in natural ecosystems. By having the life forms feed off of each other and not the surrounding environment, they are protecting the natural environment surrounding it, and that environment is then in turn preserved for more years to come to be cultivated on. So the reason why permaculture came about was, like I said, people were overproducing on our land. It couldn't continue. So this was due to the Industrial Revolution and the spike in our population. In the hunter-gatherer days, we had no issue with overproducing on our land. But ever since we've grown, the earth hasn't grown with us, and we are draining it dry. So commercial farming was the main drainer of the land. And they saw that, and they saw that it was not good. So the new way to produce food was permaculture. And this is an ongoing problem, and it will continue to be. And more companies are going to be switching to permaculture. So yes, there are 12 required conditions in order for a permaculture to be a permaculture. So I'm going to name all 12 of them. The first one is creatively use and respond to change. So surrounding environment changes, they have to change with it in order to not hurt it. They have to observe and interact. Again, that goes with changes happen. You have to interact in the right way. They have to catch and store energy. You have to obtain a yield, which is the crop or whatever you're trying to grow, the reason for the culture. They have to apply self-regulation and accept feedback. They have to use and value renewable resources only. And they have to produce no waste. So no chemical waste, none of that. They are designed from patterns. And those are all outlined by the two founders from Australia. They integrate rather than segregate. So a lot of artificial environments are sticking out there. These ones are integrating with the environments around them. They use small and slow solutions, so they're not using fertilizer. They're doing it the all natural, take your time way. They use and value diversity, so they have a lot of different species and of plants and animals to help the environment, obviously. And they use edges, and they value the marginal. All right, so how it functions. All organisms in a permaculture, all of them, they depend on each other. And we humans are actually in that flow of energy. and we can't just sit on the outside and reap the benefits of all the other organisms. We're actually a part of this one. So the manufactured ecosystem, which is the permaculture, uses the natural environment around it, and it connects with that flow of energy to connect both of them and not cause a break in them. So causing a break in this flow of energy would cause it not to be a permaculture, and it would not be as good for the environment as it's supposed to be. So it would not be a permaculture. And so my favorite example that I found of a permaculture is in Africa. And obviously permaculture can be used globally because there's land everywhere. And so this is by a company, an organization actually, called Never Ending Food. And they use permaculture in a country in Africa called Malawi. I really don't know how to say it. But they had a very big malnutrition epidemic. And by providing them with permaculture practices, they are now putting a dent in that issue and coming up with ways to produce food on their land without using non-renewable resources, and making it so that they can continue to do this for years and years to come. Thanks.